Okay, let's unpack this. We're jumping into a story that's really a massive moment in the music world.
Naturally.
It's fundamentally about who owns the music that shapes our lives, and this incredible years-long fight of one artist to get control back over her own work.
Exactly. We're pulling from a recent article that lays out a truly significant development for, well, one of the planet's most influential artists. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding all the layers here.
Yeah, our mission today in this deep dive is to really cut through the complexity of Taylor Swift's journey. Reacquiring her first 6 albums' master recordings. We want to understand why this isn't just about her, but maybe what it reveals about artist rights, the whole tangled web of music ownership.
And the value of creative work today, right, in the digital age.
Exactly. After what felt like, an endless saga of sales, negotiations, public back and forth.
It's finally happened. Taylor Swift now owns the masters of her early music. This is a huge deal.
Huge. And we're going to explore how it all unfolded and, well, why it matters so much.
Let's get into it.
So let's get right to the core event.
Yeah.
The big news is that Taylor Swift has officially reclaimed ownership of her first 6 albums.
Yes.
This happened when she purchased the master recordings directly from Shamrock Capital.
And this wasn't just like a standard business transaction, was it? She herself called it a greatest dream come true.
Wow.
That phrase really hits home just how personal and significant this moment must be for her. It's been, what, a 6-year battle?
6 years. That is a long time. And this whole journey, it traces back to that specific moment when her early catalog was first sold.
Right, without her direct involvement or consent, really. The article points out these 6 albums were originally released under Big Machine Records.
Big Machine, yeah.
Right, and that's where the public part of the saga really kicked off. Those masters were famously sold by Big Machine to Scooter Braun's Ithaca Holdings back in June 2019.
And Swift was incredibly vocal about that, criticizing the sale, the lack of transparency.
And she even cited, difficult past experiences with Braun's team over the years. It wasn't a smooth situation.
And it wasn't for lack of trying on her part to get them before that, right?
Yeah.
The article notes she had actually attempted to purchase her masters from Big Machine before that 2019 sale.
She did, but the terms they offered were, well, basically impossible. They required her to stay tied to the label in ways she just wasn't willing to accept. Sort of like earning back one album at a time for every new one she delivered.
That sounds restrictive.
Very. And what's fascinating here is how many hands these masters passed through. So Braun's company, Ithaca, held them for just over a year.
Yeah, something like that.
Before selling them on to Shamrock Capital. And now, after another period under Shamrock's ownership, Swift has finally been able to purchase them directly. It's like the masters went on their own little journey.
Seriously. A very expensive journey, too. The article reports this final purchase from Shamrock was for a 9-figure sum.
9 figures, wow.
Her Nashville-based management team finalized the deal. And sources close to the situation described the price as, fair and reasonable. Definitely below some of those sky-high estimates that were floating around before.
That's interesting. And it's not just the audio masters, is it? Her acquisition includes the entire package.
The whole thing.
The albums themselves, yes, but also related visuals, concert films, even the artwork tied to these early projects.
Everything. In a handwritten letter to fans, she emphasized this, saying, and this is pretty powerful, all of the music I've ever made now belongs to me.
Just hearing that, it's impactful, that shift in ownership.
Incredibly. And here's a layer I find really interesting. Despite now owning the original masters, she plans to continue releasing her re-recorded Taylor's version editions.
Right. Not instead of the originals, but alongside them.
Yeah.
Which, raises a really critical point about her strategy here and about value. The re-recording started specifically as a way to diminish the value financial and cultural of the original masters she didn't own.
A counter move.
Exactly. By creating new versions she did own, she could control the licensing opportunities in movies, TV shows, commercial.
All those sync licenses.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And direct fans to the versions that actually benefited her.
So they started out as this defense mechanism, but they've become this massive artistic project and frankly a commercial engine in their own right.
Absolutely. They've fueled things like the incredibly successful Eras tour.
Can't ignore that.
And she's not done yet. We know she still has 2 re-recorded albums left to release. Reputation, Taylor's version, and a new version of her debut album.
And she's confirmed this new deal, owning the originals now, won't actually delay those remaining re-recordings.
Though she has noted, apparently, that Reputation was particularly challenging to re-record. You can imagine the emotional weight there, maybe production complexities too.
For sure. This whole saga, I mean, from the initial sale that sparked it all to the re-recordings and now this reacquisition, it's absolutely sparked a massive discussion, hasn't it? About artists' rights across the entire music industry.
Oh, completely. Her decision to re-record wasn't just some personal project, it basically created a template.
The playbook.
It really did. The re-recordings, especially with the bonus from the vault tracks and the updated production, it became a masterclass in how an artist could leverage their fan base, their creativity.
To regain leverage, yeah.
Oh.
And kind of devalue masters held by others.
Exactly. It showed artists that even if the traditional path to ownership is closed, there might be these innovative avenues to reclaim value, or at least redirect value away from those original recordings.
It set a precedent. You have to think major labels and other artists are paying very close attention now.
No question. It's reported, too, that this purchase from Shamrock was a direct negotiation. A source close to the deal specifically mentioned no external party prompted Shamrock to sell to Swift, and interestingly, denied Scooter Braun's involvement in this recent transaction.
Oh, okay, so clarifying that point.
Yeah, clarifying that this was Swift's team working directly with Shamrock.
And if we step back and look at the bigger picture now, since leaving Big Machine, Swift partnered with Universal Music Group, right? A deal where she does own all her new masters from the start.
Correct. A much more artist-friendly structure for her newer work.
So now you combine that structure for her new music with this reclaimed catalog of her early hits. It doesn't just reinforce her position.
No, it solidifies her as perhaps the most powerful artist negotiator in the world today. She completely controls her creative output and its distribution, past and present.
It's just such a powerful statement about ownership and artistic control, especially in an industry that has historically made it really, really difficult for creators to own their work.
Absolutely. So Taylor Swift's successful reacquisition of her initial catalog masters, it truly marks the end, the culmination of what was a really challenging 6-year journey to finally own her early work.
Yeah, this entire saga, from that initial sale, through her kind of audacious response with the re-recordings, and now culminating in this purchase, it hasn't just made headlines. It feels like it's fundamentally shifted the discussions around artist ownership.
And set a significant active precedent. You've probably seen it impacting other musicians' careers and negotiations already.
Definitely.
And considering that Swift will now have both the original masters and her Taylor's version recordings available, what does that duality say about the different layers of value? You've got the historical artifact of the original.
Right, the thing we first heard.
Then the artistic reinterpretation of the new Taylor's version, and of course the commercial viability of each, all existing for a single body of creative work.
It's fascinating.
So how might you, listening now, think about valuing or engaging with music ownership differently, knowing this complex story behind the songs? It makes you think, doesn't it?